Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toffee Bluecast. Instant match reaction. Don't even want to say the score. Do not even want to say the score. We always have to go live after the game. This is probably the one that I could not be asked more than ever. But there is some comments already coming in. You feel like I do, so it's probably a good idea to stick together. What even do we do after this? I can't remember stress. And I feel empty after this. It's ruined my week. Well, I can put back together. We ride the storm. So whatever shit you're going through, we're going through together. We're all fans. Then Emma comes in and comments, "This is getting too hard. Absolutely gutting. What now?" So yeah, there's probably no better time to do a show because we clearly need one. But it's not what I wanted to be doing at half time. Thinking, but I didn't think at half time because I don't think anything till it's over. But how are we doing after that shambles?
I was surprised we were 2 up. I thought Dan's going to look really good here after saying we were going to win. We've got the team that we presumed we would get. It didn't make us feel any better. But then in the first half, I thought, well, you know what? Keane's actually stopped quite a few things. Oh, Ashley Cole just made a tackle and hasn't been booked yet. But they were turning the screw all the time. And when we'd scored the second, or at the half time, we had only had 2 touches, I think, in their area or something like that. So it was very much against the run of play. We defended okay up to a point, but it slowed right down, and that was almost to Villa's benefit. So it just frustrated again. I don't know where to go at the moment.
The thing is, generally, I know that was a game we could have won. That was a game we could have won. And I know probably you'll think, oh, Villa did turn it on. Villa was better and stuff like that. Football doesn't matter about who's often. Sometimes the best team doesn't win. It's about your way. And we started that game with a lot of luck. The first goal, we didn't expect it. It was massively on top. We caught them out. So just to get the first goal, you think, wow, this is a good start for us. This is a real good. We could not wish for a better start than to go 1-0 up away against Aston. So let's just make sure we keep what we've been getting here, right? I mean, we earned it. It was a cracking goal. But I'm just saying it come with them on top, so it was a cracking goal. Then all of a sudden, Villa look a bit crumbled when we score that first goal. They do. They didn't know what had hit them because the goal was so out of the blue because they was on top. See Dinier arguing. There was a lot of arguments between the centre-backs and everything. So Aston Villa was crumbled by us when we went 1-0 because the goal was unexpected. Then all of a sudden we find ourselves crumbled. We score another goal because Aston Villa ain't their heads have gone. Their heads have gone. They're arguing. The manager's going crazy. They are not at place, right? So we find ourselves 2-0 up. 2-0 up against Aston Villa away, right? Couldn't wish for something so good. Now, Aston Villa are struggling. The 2-0, they're trying to find a way back in. You cannot give them that first goal because that is momentum. That goal is massive momentum. And you cannot, for me, give them that first goal because it's momentum. Because it's 2-0, them thinking we've got to score 3 goals to win. You do not feel good at 2-0. But if you give them a goal, go 2-1, then they're thinking, bloody hell, you give us that. You're not looking good now. Let's go 2-2 straight away. I know what we did last game. And I know I'm just going to say it, and I'll call it out, is if a player has a good game, he's had a good game. I'm not saying it's going to be good week in, week out, but I thought Ashley Young was fantastic this game. Right? I thought Ashley Young was really good, and I'm the biggest person on his back before kickoff. Trust me. I thought Ashley Young was really good. He looked good on the right, and then he got moved to the left, and then he looked not as good on the right when he got moved to the left. So I thought Ashley wasn't. He was a player I'm not going to get at this game. But shoot me down if you want. Michael Keane should not be losing that header. He should. You've got to lead for Everton. You've got to. I want you to be getting unconscious from winning that header. Honestly, I want you to be a big crack to the head. You've got to be saying to Watkins, if you're going to win this, Michael Keane, who's probably owned his head. Sorry, maybe screamers every now and again, but when you would expect Michael Keane to beat Watkins, and that was lazy for me. And I'm starting with a rant, and I'll let Paul have his rant. But I'm just saying, we're 2-0 up. Aston Villa need to find something. They're struggling. They're arguing. An easy cross and that header that Watkins or Michael Keane letting him have that header so easy. And I know there was stuff that went on, but sometimes you've got to say it happens before. And I honestly do think that was a pathetic goal to concede. Watch it back. It's Keane. He's leaning like that. And if Michael Keane says, "I'm getting this," you've seen Vidic frigging blood bandages all around his head to win heads back in the day. Do you know what I mean? We've got our legends. You've got to smash it. You've got to make. And I'm telling you something. If Keane is saying this, no matter what, I'm not letting you score. I am not letting you score. That mentality. Watkins will back out, Watkins will back out because he'll think Keane's going to smash him here, and he'll back out, and he won't get the clean header, and he'll be back, and he won't be so clean. He'll be thinking about the contact, and he won't win that header. So I just want to say, we're 2-0 up. You cannot start their momentum, because that's what we did, Paul. We just got their momentum going. Yeah, I'll give you this goal on a plate to get your momentum going. You're 2-0 down. You're arguing. You look like you're struggling. We'll just give you this first goal, and then after that we'll crumble and get scared again. So something needs to be done, and our mentality is disgusting. And Dyche, we will have talks about him as well, because Dyche, for me, he looks like a very, very lost man. I felt sorry for Harrison, because Harrison didn't know whether he's playing right wing, right back, or he didn't know whether he had to help the right back or actually be the right back, and Dinier's making the overlaps, and I'm thinking, Dyche, you just need to do something, put a player in that position and give him that job so we can just focus on stopping Dinier on the overlaps. I would rather personally a Dixon come on, who is a right back, who has got speed, that is just going to run with him and stop him whipping balls in and do the basic shit. But Paul, come at me, because I'm really, really frustrated with that, because that you can't gift a game away that easy. 2-0. It was pathetic. It was honestly so pathetic. Draining. And I'm so sorry for fans, because I haven't got that game. But how I feel now is, but to go to that game and be singing as loud as we did when we're 2-0, and then just have that taken away from you with no fight, and they travel all the way home now feeling heartbroken. Because I would rather just get battered 4-0 and not even be 2-0 up. That false hope that they give the fans then to boost them back up. Because that's the worst thing, isn't it, Paul? When you generally get all the feelings, I'm 2-0 up, we might actually go home with a win here against Aston Villa. To give you that much hope and not even fight that hard to keep to get at least get a draw or a win. But I don't know. It's pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, incredibly frustrating. Sort of on what Emma's mentioned there, and you'd sort of alluded to, I don't think there was anything massively different in the way the team lined up for when the substitutes came on. I think the only big difference was probably when we went to 3 at the back. But Garner knows how to play right back. Young knows how to play left back. So that change when Mykolenko came off, I don't think was a catalyst. I know you could sort of pick out Garner's movements and the fact that when the ball was played by Anana to our right hand side, and Dina gets the ball, Garner's previously moved forward to try and close down one of their midfield players. So he's a good sort of 10, 15 yards off Dina. So I kind of get that, but the cross, I mean, it was a great cross, it's just like a little dinky cross. But what you said was right in the fact that I think if Keane's not there and you've got someone who's 6'6", there's a difference, and I just think there's a difference in the defending of it as well. You know, because there was a very similar one in later on in that first half, because we had the ball on the left and it was a looping cross, I think, by McNeil, and whoever was with DCL, it might have been Konza. He held him off. He held him off. Do you know what I mean? He was strong enough to do that. And Keane just needs to back into Watkins. He's got to know someone's there. And in fact, if you watch it in slow motion as well, as the ball's coming over, it's almost, you know, them kind of flick headers that defenders do over the bar, or, you know, sort of out to the wing or whatever. Keane shapes up as though he's going to do that. Maybe he's got no idea that Watkins is even there. And if that's so, that's a bit bloody naive, isn't it, to think that, you know, an England striker is not going to be near the ball as it comes into the area a yard away from goal. So he sort of bends down to go like this, but as he bends down or crouches down, Watkins is then on top and he's got the leverage. So it's just naive. It's naive defending. It's not something you would expect from someone who's got Premier League experience, you know, all that palaver. So I know it's Keane again getting ripped. He just sort of attracts. He's like a magnet. We've said this before. He's just like a magnet for calamity, or, you know, a way for teams to get on the score sheet. And we said last night in the pre-match, if you're gonna have Young and Keane in your back four, and like Nick said, the Villa fan, he said, I'd love it if they came out with that back four, and it's exactly what we did. Because, like he said, we've got young, quick players. We've got Watkins up there who's doing really well, and it's exactly what happened. Our goals were against the run of play. You know, there were two great goals. McNeil's scored and assisted, so he's done decent tonight, McNeil. Decent headed by DCL, onside for once, but they were against the run of play, so we had to get to half time with that 2-0 lead. I do think we would have got something from the game if we got to half time, but you could almost feel it then, couldn't you? You could almost feel it. As soon as that one went in, everyone started looking at each other and just started thinking, nah, it can't, can it? And it fucking did. It did.
I could feel it, and I'm not even joking. Dye should as well. But I'm not saying I'm a professional, but I frigging know, and I 100% shouting. I could feel it the moment Mikalenko come off that what Dyche did wasn't working, because Villa had a couple of chances before they scored, and you could tell. Even the commentators were saying, like, the commentators said, Dyche said he could smell it last time. And if he can smell it and he needs to do something about it. And the commentators were saying it in a nice way, but the commentators knew it was in massive trouble. Right, Mikalenko gets injured. Dyche should have, it's his job to have a plan. If the left back or the right back is injured, the players that come in, that he knows what he's got to do. He's got to have a plan for everything. That's his job. He paid millions. If I was that football manager, I'm not joking, I'd do every little thing that could gain me an advantage. And I'd be ready for a right back or a left back getting injured. And straight, as soon as that happens, I'd be like, the lads would already have the plan, by the way. The players would already have the plan before the game. We'd already have a sit-down what can happen if we have to change formations in defence. This is just basic. So then we'd just say, right, lads, this has happened. Straight away, players locked in training. We've already trained for this happening. Straight in, O'Brien goes back. Or we play Dixon right back and have him ready. You just make sure Dixon is ready because we know we're short in position. You've got to be ready. You've got to it's easy to say, look at this team and say, oh, you know what can Dyche do? He's so unplanned and unready, and we didn't know what we was doing. And even in the centre of midfield, looked wrong when we was 2-0 up, and we needed to do something that made it really hard for Villa to get one goal to make it 2-1. Never mind to come back like that. So we should have made it. I wanted it so if Villa scored, you say fair play, what a goal. Like the third goal that they scored, you said fair play, flush it down in every space possible. We've stopped all the crosses. We're not doing the basics anymore. We're not stopping crosses from coming in. Digne on an overlap, right? He should not be doing that. So he should not have that much space down there. We're playing with a right back and a right winger. Those two together should be able to stop that. And we're acting like we haven't even got a right back, never mind a right back and a right winger. James Garner, I set him on a right back straight away. When he come on, I thought, oh my God, he's not comfortable in that position. I don't know where he is. And I thought, it's not working. And I put my hands up and thought, but if it's not, then you bring Dixon on straight away. You have to get to the game. And you have to stop. Because Dyche knows that if they score that goal, it's 2-0. 2-0 is a wicked. You do everything you can to keep it. Because you don't want to go 2-1 because you know what we did last time. So Dyche has got to react before they score that first goal. And I'm telling you, that first goal, it was coming and they didn't take the chance. It was coming again and they didn't take the chance. Nothing. It was coming again. They didn't take the chance. You could see Digne with the overlaps and down that side. And it was coming. Didn't react. I would have played. If you played with O'Brien, like Paul said, if you put him and just played with free, first of all, you either play Dixon right back, who's got the speed to probably run with Digne to stop him getting the crosses in, because he has got the speed to just run with him. So he could handle that. I'm pretty sure he could handle that. So first of all, you play Dixon as right back. If you don't want to do that, you play three centre backs. Either option, I think, if Dixon right back, it stops Digne from getting the crossing. First of all, yeah, it stops him from getting the crossing, because I think Dixon would. And just say to Dixon every time he goes, just make sure you put him and put pressure on the crosses so his crosses are harder to get in. That's what you do. You stop the left winger from crossing it in that way. If you don't want to use Dixon in that way, you play with three centre backs. Fair enough, you might get the crosses in, but if you get the crosses in, I've got three giants, O'Brien and Tarkowski, so the crosses come in. A very good chance of win comes in. So there you just your two basic plans. You either play Dixon to stop the crosses coming in, or you play with the three centre backs and make sure your wing backs defend well, and the three centre backs can stop it in. That's just how you could have stopped that first goal so easy. And it's frustrating that we can see this. Paul knows this stuff. I've seen it all over X. It's frustrating that we can see this stuff and there's no reaction. And Dyche is just getting stupid stuff past us because we should have won that game. I don't care what anyone says. If you ask the Villa fan at 2-0 up, they would have been thinking, I'll take a draw. I will take a draw. But they probably wouldn't have even expected a draw. But the way we crumbled again.
In terms of the first substitution when Mykolenko goes off, which is really unfortunate. I've no qualms with what he did after that, to be fair. I mean, I wouldn't have started Young, no. Would have started Keane, no. But if you've got that back four, Mykolenko goes off. We said ourselves Garner might be half decent. You said yourself Garner would be a decent understudy at right back. So for him to come on, and he didn't do bad all game. It's just picking out little bits might be the reasons for Villa coming back into it. So I've got no qualms with Garner coming on right back and Young going off to left back. Later on, I mean, you're not gonna. Not that you shouldn't, but when have you seen a Premier League manager switch his formation after half an hour? Because that's when we went 2-0 up. You know, would he have then brought someone off to suddenly go to a back three or a back five? I can't, you know, it rarely happens, to be honest. If we got to half time at that stage, he might have done it. You know, maybe he should have done it at half time. That would have been a more sensible thing to do because Villa just had their tails up. Absolutely their tails up. And Duran's, I mean, can't blame anyone for the goal. I mean, the lad's 25, 25 to 30 yards out, so it's absolute screamer. So nothing. I wouldn't have a go at anyone for their second, but or for Duran's goal, but they were always getting in the lines. So they were always passing in between the gaps of Keane and Tarkowski, or Tarkowski and Garner. We were just really static, very flat. So when the ball gets passed through quite a few times, they should have come back long before they actually did come back, to be honest. Pickford made a good save, after which Garner threw his body in the way. So they could easily have come back quicker. I think a massive turning point is the DCL chance, to be honest with you. I think we're 2-1. He's through on goal. He doesn't do what he wants to do quick enough. Konza gets back. 3-1. I just think 3-1, our attitude changes. I just think it changes, and then we've got the momentum ourselves again. And there's key moments like that. So you could pick out their screamer from miles away and DCL not finishing that chance.
I think, do you know what, though? I think they would have given offside on that chance, Paul. I would have given up. When they showed it back, I think
I don't know.
They gave a corner, and just from what I seen, first I thought he was onside, like you, and I thought, what have you done? But when they showed it back, he did look offside. So I think it would have been. I could be wrong. Someone might be able to show a video whether he was. Like, I'm sure we'll get a clip of whether he was. It was a big chance, and I get what it's a big chance, and you've got to take those chances when they took theirs to go for it, if he was onside. But I just can't. Me personally, I can't accept that we've let them back in so easy. That backing goal was shocking, and then the second goal, I thought was bad closing down from us from the second goal. See it coming. That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Like, we obviously, I know, like I said, Garner. I think the moment Garner was in that right back position, it didn't work. He needed to change it. I'll stick my gun on that, because he didn't look settled, and he didn't look like he had the overlaps on Digne. He wasn't running with him, and he was getting done. And that's not like James. So I 100% think that position isn't for him now. I really do. And straight away, even if you play her on, if it's not working, everything we was doing at 2-0, like you said, Paul, they was on top. Could see they was finding ways, but we wasn't doing enough to stop that for me. We wasn't enough, like you say, we was very static, and there was more stuff that could have been done for me. It was very static. We didn't fill the spaces in the middle. We was letting them play their game a little bit. And if they do keep to react enough for me to try and stop it, and I just the first goal, shocking. Second goal, shocking. There was getting chances. When Mikalenko went off, it was just easy. Did Dyche find a way to make it hard for them when it was 2-0? When they was piling it on, like you said, and they was bringing it on? I don't think he did. And I think having chance after chance, and it was coming. But we've got more of a backup plan for me. When we can't. I watched a couple of bit of football today. I watched Nottingham Forest today against Thingy. The way they defended was fantastic. Forest against the Shite, and they defended that well. And the way we defended when we got the lead, and you've got to remember, they're defending a 1-0 lead. Nottingham Forest was. We was defending 2 goals. If you can't in the Premier League, if you can't defend 2 goals out in a game, you're going to struggle, because you're not going to be 2-0. You're not going to be 2 goals up in every game. We're not going to get those opportunities, because most of the time we don't take our chances. So when we do take our chances, we've got to get something to show for it, I think, because we often don't. Normally, we moan about our defence, don't we, Paul? Normally, we're moaning about our defence, and we're saying, the defence doing the job last season. Attacking players are not taking the chances. So, we're doing our job. You're not doing your job up top. Today was the opposite. I feel Calvert-Lewin was fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, I thought he played really well.
But I thought he put himself about. I think he played really well today. He looked on it. So I'm sorry for Calvert-Lewin, because I think Calvert-Lewin and McNeil, they got 2 goals out of nothing. So I think attacking-wise, because we didn't do much attacking, they more gave us what we needed. So they gave us their stuff, but we're defensively, we were shocking. I put it if I was McNeil and Calvert-Lewin, because I think we've gone away, we've scored 2, and you've done nothing to make us win from that.
Yeah. I mean, it's dead hard to pick positives after it's happened again.
Can just be negative.
I think I was going to say I'd love to get Dan Abrahams on again and ask him about these kind of situations, because when we spoke to Dan last week, none of us sort of thought, oh, it's going to happen again, you know, that kind of situation. But as who was it who mentioned it? Yeah, Emma mentioned that Villa fans could smell it at 2-0 down because they knew that it had happened recently. So,
oh shit, that's what we watched.
You know what I mean? Every time now in this, you know, obviously not over years, but, you know, over the next few games, if we go 1 up, 2 up, we're still, everyone, the opposition, the players, you know, the opposition fans, everyone's just going to know that 2-0 isn't just a dangerous lead.
Oh, we're getting a reputation.
It's a bloody good possibility that we'd throw it away. I'm surprised it's going to end up being one of them quotes that you see printed on the dressing room walls. 2-0 is a dangerous lead. Just ridiculous.
It's funny because we obviously the Talk Bluecast, we've got like group in the chat and stuff like that. I mean, we've got you lot on the channel, amazing. Get your comments in, people, and make sure you like, subscribe. I never say it anymore, and I should. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. There's loads on, and we need each other more than ever. But it's like Paul in the group, got Rob in the group, all the people on the channel. It's 2-0. We can't let them come back. All of a sudden, can we? Paul's like, can we? With a gift, and then 2-1. Oh no, it's going to happen again. And the problem is, we've got that mentality. We're wanting to get that mentality now where we just crumble. And if it goes out of it quick, we can be in big, big trouble. I don't know what the answer is now. I am more worried about Daesh than I've ever been. Because what worries me now, if these players are crumbling like this, and we can't find a way out of crumbling, it might become a time, I think, there's a manager. Are the players thinking we do some Daesh? Are they thinking, bloody hell, Daesh don't know what's doing here? And I know, obviously, it's just making point. I know you'd say no because you probably think different, but I'm just thinking sometimes you get a different, you think as a player, you know what? We haven't crumbled, so we might not do it this time. It's twice now. It's twice, and it's funny you said that. Dan Abrams and me, Chloe said to me, "You're gonna have to speak to Abrams again after that." She said what you said on the show. I goes, don't think even he'd be able to out. Don't think even he'd know what to say, because when we had the psychologist on last time and we spoke about, he spoke about loads of different ways to stop it. Because if something like that happens against Bournemouth, you don't just put a blind eye to it, right? If something like that happens, you generally try and sort it out ASAP. That's in your face. That's what's happened. We need to make sure that don't happen. That's what we did last game. So I would have thought that Daesh was more ready if that was to happen again. Because you do think to yourself sometimes, even when you play football, oh, if that happens again, I'd do this different, I'd do that different, or I'd do this different, or I'd do this to stop that. And it happened again. And Daesh, for me, has done nothing to show me that he's gone and made a plan of stopping that from happening again. And no, it's not just on Daesh, it's on players as well, by the players as well. But it's Daesh's job to coach players and make sure they're ready for something like that to happen. And you just not let a team come back from 2 goals. And by the way, Aston Villa are a good team. They come back from the 2 goals. The first 2 goals that Aston Villa scored, Paul, was good goals. and unstoppable, I'd say fair enough. But when you're just a shitty lofted ball like that and 2 mile an hour like a floater, and Michael Keane's too busy farting instead of freeing from that header, I'm sorry, he's got to win that. He's ducking like that, and he knows it. I know what he's saying, but I don't know whether he knows he's there, but he does, and I think honestly, Michael Keane's stuck in the mud sometimes. I tell you, he's so awkward.
Yeah, and the thing is, Watkins
I'm not
hasn't
picking
run.
on him, by the way.
Watkins hasn't run
whoever
for
made
like
that mistake
10.
would be going on it.
Yeah, well, Watkins hasn't sort of run full pelt from 10, 15 yards away and done some sort of amazing leap over Keane. He's just been stood a couple of yards behind Keane and then jumped up pretty much as Keane has done. You've just got to be stronger, and it feels. None of us want to pick on a player. We don't want to pick on a player, all right? And we try and be as sort of open and share responsibility as much as it is due. But the key goals in the Bournemouth one, first goal in this one, it's that area again. It's that area again at the far post. That cross comes in from our right, and then it's in Keane's area to defend, and the opposition's there to head it in. It's happened twice, and like come on, you Blues said, we've been Keane cursed. Keane has had some decent spells in the years that he's been with us, but his confidence gets shattered. And I think I remember saying this last season or the season before, and the fact that you just need to give the lad a break. And we've played 4 games, we've shipped 13 goals. He's been the centre of quite a lot of the chances or the actual goals we've conceded. I just don't know. Just got to take him off for a while. Just got to take him off.
We said this. We said this last time. Me and Paul last when Branthwaite was coming, we were saying just take Keane out just for his sake, because you're just making him look worse and worse. And Branthwaite come in and he just showed Keane how it was done. And it comes to a point now. What is our because it gets to the point where you're like, oh, we're moaning about Michael Keane. That's a bit harsh. But what about our football club? What about if we got relegated? Should Michael Keane just because being nice don't get you nowhere? We need a mentality where, I'm sorry, but Michael Keane wouldn't get into a lot of the Premier League. Michael Keane was playing for Aston Villa and he made those mistakes in front of that manager. It'd be off at half time. If Michael Keane did not win that header, he would be off at half time. By that, manager would be going nuts, and O'Brien would. I don't know why Dyche is licking Michael Keane's ass. And it's not us just going at Michael Keane, by the way, because I went into this and I've already said I thought actually he shouldn't have been playing, but he didn't make no mistakes. And I think he had a good game. So I'll say, you know what? Nothing come from you. And you did look like you was trying to sort the defence out. And you did look like you was ordering about. And you did look like you had a bit about you. If someone stepped up, I'll rightly give him praise. Ashley Young, fair enough. Can't fault you this game. But Michael Keane, what do you do? What do you do? Because the first goal, which was massive, to make them go 2-1, was just a header. For Michael Keane, you would say, what's Michael Keane's strength? He's not got fast feet. He's not that fast. But he is good in the air, you would say. That's what you probably would say. He's good at winning headers.
He's very good. He's very good at defending what's in front. Do you know what I mean? He's very good at defending what he can see in that kind of vision there. But as soon as he gets turned round, that's when the weaknesses are, And you can pick out, I mean, obviously the goal tonight for the first one, the Bournemouth header as well, that kind of area where he's running back towards his own goal. Leicester away, was it last season before, where he's got his arms out and stuff like that. It always seems to be, and it's going to be more difficult for defenders when they're running towards their own goal. However, he's a magnet. He's an absolute magnet for it, and it's not changing. It's not changing. And like Emma said, you kind of feel a little bit sorry for him, but you've got other lads there who can play those positions. And some managers don't sort of sub out their centre backs. It's like, oh, if you take off the goalkeeper, then it's because he's injured or he's never going to play for you again. And it's the same kind of thing with centre backs. You don't take a centre back off if you're playing two at the back. You end up bringing a third one on, because if you did that, that's a bit, there's some positions that it's almost taboo to substitute, because these should be the stalwarts. If they're taken off, then it's because the manager doesn't like you or you're injured. That must be what's in Dyche's head, because he doesn't sub Keane out ever.
When I watched Ireland against, I wanted O'Brien to be playing for Ireland, and when I watched Ireland against England, O'Brien come on, and concede any goals. So O'Brien come on, and generally come on, and he didn't concede no goals. And I do think you can sub a centre back. I probably would have done it at half time, personally.
The reason he came on then was because Coleman went off injured, wasn't it?
To be a free.
And so they shifted. So they shifted. Ireland shifted the defence back. Yeah. So that's why sort of O'Brien came in then. But it just seems to be like that. And with Sean, I think you get to that stage where you're 2-0 up, you've played well, you've defended well, you've taken some chances that you had. And I did think we sort of deserved just to hold on a bit, but Villa were by far the better side. It's just dead frustrating. It really is. Come on, you Blues says confused at 2-2.
Miles better than
why we shifted.
I was just going to say Liverpool was miles better than Nottingham Forest today, but Nottingham Forest actually was miles better than Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, not always the best team wins. Yeah.
No, but we must. I don't know.
That was a game where we could have got something.
I didn't see the betting from ours, but we must have been bloody 3 or 4 to 1 at least to get anything today. Come on, you Blues says I'm confused at 2-2. Why we shifted to 5-4-1? Depends if he wanted to draw. I think he then panicked a little bit. Like you say, 2-1 would have been the time to do it. I think there was. What was there? There was probably about 12 minutes in between when they scored their first and them scoring the second either side of the half. I think it was O'Brien came on and went like that to Tarkowski. So that's what they were trying to do. But we were then sitting back an awful lot. At that point, I thought, why don't you bring someone on who's maybe got legs who could sort of stretch the pitch for us? Because we were almost trying to keep hold of the ball then when we went down to 5-4-1, and there was almost like no space in our half to do it. So we were sort of lobbing the ball up, and DCL did what he could. It's dead frustrating. And you know what? And I'm gonna say it, and people are gonna be well against me on it probably, but Dyche made substitutions in this game, and he didn't make substitutions in the Bournemouth. So whether you agree with those substitutions, like last time, at least he was making them. At least we were trying to combat what we could see coming. It's the mentality at the moment. In that one, it wasn't the substitutions. It was the fact that last week had happened, or the week before had happened. And now we've got that in our heads, and it's that fear of failure again, and we just end up panicking. And a screamer from Duran, obviously.
I still don't think the substitutions was right though. The substitutions have got to be. I started making substitutions when it was 2-2. The substitutions needed to be made before they scored their first goal at 2-0. It wasn't right when we was 2-0 up. When we was 2-0 up, we looked massively like it. We looked like we were struggling, and it wasn't right. And Dyche needed to make substitutions at 2-0 because you could see the goal coming. It's about reaction, and it's not right to just leave us and just. You can see they're having chance after chance after chance, and they're getting spaces that they shouldn't be getting. And you're thinking, look, we're so bad. Now one ball down our left hand side, and we're not in position. So that's when we're 2-0 up. So Dyche has to do something when we're 2-0 up. And I don't think Dyche would have made any substitutions if Mykolenko didn't get injured. And I still felt when we was 2-0 up before Mykolenko got injured, they was coming at us. And I don't think it was Mykolenko got injured that they scored. I thought it was when Mykolenko was on, and I thought we needed to do something and find a balance because there was no balance. We needed to find something to stop their flow because, first of all, we should not have given them that first goal. We gifted them the first goal to get. Remember that goal was the momentum. The 2-0 down, the first goal, have it on a plate, Mark Keane, see you later. Once we give them momentum, they have the momentum. So we've given them a free plate slot of momentum, and now they're coming at us, and we can't stop that momentum, and we're in massive trouble, as we always do. It's worrying, and I don't feel we can be. I know you have positive, but I feel that we've got to start being a bit strict and harsh and a bit of a better mentality. Otherwise, we're in trouble. I think we've got to start raising a bar and saying, right, don't start doing this because get those cans open now. Don't start doing this. If you don't because you can't keep throwing 2-0 away. We can't keep being nice. Oh, I'm sorry for Mark Keane. So what? I'm sorry. We could get relegated this season if we don't stay up. I don't give a shit about Michael Keane. If Michael Keane, if you're gonna smash your head into that header and stop that first goal, I care about you because you're putting your body on the line for my football club. Michael Keane, if you're just gonna let that header so easy, no, don't feel sorry for you. Get off the pitch. I'd win that header better than you, and I generally I'm not even joking. I would do anything. I would smash into it. And like you said, Paul, don't have to always win header. You can just make their header hard. Because Watkins, all Watkins has had to do is Watkins has just had to jump and he's not getting challenged. So all he's thinking about is I've just got to get this header right. If Keane puts his body into it, Watkins is thinking, I've got to get this header right. I'm in a better position here because Michael Keane's leaning into me. So I'm just lean back of Watkins there. He can't get the header where he wants, and that's how you make a player miss a header. Such small players make big players miss headers just by body lean into them.
Yeah, Keane was too late with the header. He was waiting for the ball to come down so then he could head it, jump up and then head it away. But he waited for it, and Watkins got the jump on him.
Yes, this.
Exactly. Should be attacking it, whereas it was just from a standing position.
It's not on, and it's not acceptable.
No. Look,
and the thing is, if we do not, Paul, start to toughen up, stop babying these players. Because if you keep babying these players and keep accepting that it's okay to make these sort of mistakes, lose these sort of games, we'll get relegated. Because you can't accept that. We need some sort of standard. We need some sort of standard because. Yeah, there was loads of positives, but I just believe if you're going to get 2-0 up like that,
say them because it's dead easy, isn't it? We're really good at moaning. We really are, and rightly so. We deserve to,
we should.
And we've had plenty of practice, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But we were 2-0 up. Do you know what I mean? For the vast majority of that first half. And yet we were under the cosh and didn't look as though we were necessarily going to keep a clean sheet, but we were 2 up by that point. And the Bournemouth game, we were 2 up with 80, 85, 86 minutes to go. So there must be some positives to get in that position. So what are they? Pick them out, because I think we've still got something. It's not the worst. It's not the worst side that we've had. Do you know what I mean? And we've got games coming up who we could easily get. Out of the next 8 games, we could easily get 3 or 4 wins.
Defense is.
Do you know what I mean? So there are positives out there, but you've really got to look hard.
You go again, microscope. But when we was on the show, we said with a laughing, the Villa fan was like, "Look at your defence," and we had no argument for it. We know Michael Keane. We knew Michael Keane. And it's not me. Like I say again, it's not me picking up. But we're going to play against people, and they're going to us. And if we've got a weak player, they're just going to pounce us. They don't give a shit about us. They'll just beat us and say, "See you later." And there was positives, like you say. We finished the chances, and we looked a bit better. Like we looked a bit more clinical, especially Calvert-Lewin. He was probably one of the positives. But it all means what scares me, Paul, is that in football, you win some, you lose some. It feels like those chances, we're chucking away the chances that we should win some. And they don't come very often, by the way. So I feel like when you start to get a bit of luck, like that Villa game, where you get a bit of luck to get you back on track, which you spoke about. You said sometimes about Everton, start bad, they'll just win randomly. And that game was a game that we'd normally win to get us back on track, to get us that bounce. And we're chucking away these games that get you that bounce. And then you chuck that game away that you should definitely have won. And you can end up losing a couple. And this season, we're not that good that we're chucking away the games that we should massively win either. So it's worrying to chuck those games away. There is positives, but you can't do what we're doing at the minute. It needs to be something different. I don't know what it is. I really don't. Like you said to me, Bosch goes, well, again. Do you know that's done that? Like 2-0 again. Like I couldn't believe that happened against Bournemouth. I could not believe that that's happened. And you think, right, once a season that happens. We spoke about it, and we never in a million years thought that this would happen. The exact same thing would happen in the next game, and it doesn't happen very often. So something's massively wrong.
I'd say there is, like, I'm going to pick out a few positives. First of all, it's a long season. Thanks, David. It is. It's a long season. So out of 38 games, yes, we've lost the first 4 for the first time since 1958-59 season. It's only ever happened 3 times in our history. That's all. So that, it doesn't happen very often. So we're not that bad. We've also played Brighton, who are a top side this season, I think. Spurs are going to be up there. Villa are going to be up there. Obviously, Bournemouth was crap. Okay? If we come out losing against Villa, 2-0, 3-1, something like that, people would almost be accepting of it. But because of what's happened, unbelievably, again, in 2 games, it feels worse. But our next game, Southampton League Cup. Southampton are having it as bad as we are. I think you posted about watching their game today, and they're really, really struggling. So, and the League Cup game as well is a chance for Dice to pick whatever side he wants without excuses, because it's the League Cup, so it's okay. So he could drop Young and Keane, and he could play Dixon and O'Brien without any kind of pattern of his ego.
Positives.
Yeah.
Paul's trying so hard to be positive.
Aren't we blessed, Lulu? We're blessed.
Lulu's just like,
absolutely.
I will always.
Yeah. If we've got anyone listening, anyone watching, who was at the games in 1958-59, then come on and let us know what you were like. There you are. Dave agrees. They're decent teams. Yes, Leicester. If we came out getting battered against Leicester, I think that's when you're going to start. We've already had a vote of confidence for Sean. Might get the dreaded second vote of confidence if we have a really bad performance and bad result against Leicester. But Southampton first. When against Southampton, everyone's a little bit more optimistic. Get something away at Leicester. Again, then we'll have Palace at home and start thinking, I don't know. It's what we do. We spoke about this. We're like that. We're never sort of like that. Sometimes we're like that, and then just a bit up at the end. It is life is a roller coaster, a wise man once said.
Do you think? I'll ask you a question, Paul. Right? Do you think that we should standard where we don't let this happen? What's happened now? Do you think we should have a standard where we say we should be better than this, or do you think that we should just be okay to brush under the carpet and just say, "Oh, it's okay for that happening"? Because I do believe what's happened should massively not happen. It could have stopped, and I think there's been a lot of problems for not getting the players right, and I think the manager's made a few mistakes. Do you think it's okay to just say, "Oh, it's fine," and brush it under the carpet? Or do you feel that we should have about to say we're letting games go here? We should be better than this. Do you think we should have a better mentality than what we're?
Yeah, but it's been like that for years. Been like that. At least we're scoring goals. You know, anyone who's spoken to Neville Southall over the last 30 years, he'll tell you. As soon as they started accepting sixth and seventh, the mentality changed from when we were first or second, and that should have never changed, but it did. And then we were poorly owned, and money wise wasn't great, and we didn't do this or we didn't do that, and we've been on a sort of downward path, and with a little bit of resurgence, it's 1 or 2 seasons out of that. But we have been for the past 30 years accepting that we're not in the top 4, top 3. Do you know what I mean? Not top 1. It just used to not be acceptable, but we're not in that position anymore. We're not in that position. We want to be, and you never know. We might be.
I'm not even on about like position of where we should be. I'm just on about like the basics that I know you as much as me, Paul. Like, we're getting such basics wrong. Like, stop them getting the crossing. It's just so simple. Sometimes we'll run and we don't even put the sliding tackle in. And I love just a player just running with them down that flank, getting the block in and stopping that cross from coming in. And we're just letting crosses. We're letting them run down. Not stopping the crosses from coming in. The basics like winning the head, the basics like putting a bit more shift in. And I'm not talking about like where anything like that. I'm just talking about our games. I feel our players ain't doing enough. All of them, by the way, not all of them, but I just like Brighton. I mean, we're going to end the show anyway, because I'm not going to moan too much, and I will get back on track. But a lot of people are going to feel like me, and I'm not just going to come on and be happy to make you look happy. I'm going to show you that I do feel like you're here, but we will get back positive. Luckily, Paul's a bit more positive than me, but I just like Brighton, all 3 goals, our fault. We could go through them now. I don't want to do it. I don't want to put myself through all 3 goals. Just little basic things like closing down, running with the player. Paul, you hate this stuff, Paul, as well. You're great. You do analyse it and you say, "Come on, this is stupid." And the Brighton game, all 3 goals. Spurs game, the Pickford goal kick, just giving it to Son on a play. All the Spurs goals, our fault. Again, just basic stuff. And even though Brighton and Spurs, and I can accept losing against them, I can't accept that we're giving goals away so easy, that they're in that Everton top on, and they're not just getting the basics. I just think that's a minimum, that we should just be getting the basics. You don't need to be the best player just to get the basics right. And it's the same with the Bournemouth game. I feel we generally, you look at the goals, we could generally say all the goals was our fault again. Caught out as basics. So the Bournemouth, all these goals, 3 goals Brighton, 4 goals Spurs, 3 goals Bournemouth. All those goals, we could put them down, Paul, and we could say we should have a lot better, and it was our own doing. The 2 goals today, I feel, Keane goal to get their momentum going. our own doing again. The second goal could have been massively prevented. The third goal, fair enough. Screamer. For me, out of all these games we've played, the only goal was that third goal today where you say, fair enough. You can't answer. But the others, we're just not doing enough for me. And I think we've got to do a lot more and a lot better because we've got to make teams work harder to beat us. We've given games away too easy. Games away that we've actually earned the right to, that our attacking players have actually said, right, we scored 2 goals for you. Can you defend it?
Yeah. The last 2 games, so not thinking about the Spurs or the Brighton one, the last 2 games are the opposite of, not exact opposite, but they're very different from last season. Where
that?
What?
Well,
I did. I did write that. I'll tell you what. I'll come to that in a minute. I'll come back to that in a minute. So
Mr. Positive, and now he's
I am.
Always really positive. Like, you know what? You're okay this season, and secretly he's being nice, and secretly he's talking. I'm going to suck dice, the little frigging Scotch egg, little shit. What are you doing? Come on. He's really angry about it.
Last season, we were losing games. We were losing games 1-0, but bossing the game and not scoring. And what we've had in the last 2 games is that, I'm not saying we bossed it, we've scored goals and then thrown it away. We're never consistent. And that's good and bad. At the moment, it's good that we're not consistent because we're awful at the moment. So we are going to turn it around where that 2-0 is going to hold, or it's going to turn into a 3-0, and then we're going to be fine for it. But the Dice thing, right? I threw that in, but I've worded it specifically because I said, would you sack Dice?
Oh, it's
tonight?
not nice. Don't know what Dice is doing.
I know. But you got to think about. You got to use. There's got to be a little bit of common sense and openness to the whole situation because everyone's fuming. Everyone's fuming about it tonight. But it was Villa away, and also we've not got an owner really. You know, we've got someone who hopefully is going to come in and buy the club, who is heavily financially backed if it happens. We've got a transfer window in January. You know, I just think it would be ridiculous to sack him tonight when we've got a run of 8 games coming up where we are good enough to win 4 or 5 of them, honestly. I know it doesn't feel like it now.
I'm chucking some cracking questions on you here, Paul.
Go on.
I'm chucking some cracking questions on you, Paul. I'm putting you on the heat tonight. Do you think for how long Marsh has been here, this game today, you would have that he has been here that long? And remember, all these players are they've gone through Dyche. Dyche has got to say on what players he's brought in this transfer window. Do you feel today, looking at that, Dyche has I think that we should have had a left back cover the window. The right back situation probably wouldn't have been another contract. We probably shouldn't have. Do you think we're doing the right thing? It looks like, it feels like to me. Yes, we did see a good start to the game, Bournemouth. We did see a good start to the other game. But if you defend like that and you can't find a way to see out 2-0 twice, what's happened all this time?
If it's about,
it feels like you don't know him.
If it's about players that we haven't got, then I don't think the majority of blame is on Dyche for that because we've got Thelwall who does the deals. You know, you could have a go at Dyche for saying you're not attracting the top players that we want, but we have got some decent players who came in because, you know, we got O'Brien. He knew that Dyche was manager, and Jai, good player, knew that Dyche was manager. So I don't think that's on Dyche. That would be on Thelwall if we've not brought people in. And Thelwall's hands are tied to a degree because of the lack of money we've got. So if it's about players we've not got, I wouldn't blame Dyche for that. What I would do, and I've always said this to close mates as well. When any of us play because I play football on a Wednesday. I've got a really fat purple ankle at the moment. I haven't seen a picture of you. It's gross. But what I would always say on a Wednesday with the lads that I play with is that none of us are Premier League players. So you never have a go at anyone for being crap.
I am. You ain't. I am.
Sorry. The ones I play with are never going to be Premier League players. So you never have a go at anyone for being crap. But you do if they don't give their all. And that's the most frustrating thing. The majority, I think, tonight did give everything or give a lot of it. We were just badly positioned or making bad decisions. And then that comes on Dykes to then do something about that, whether it's either dropping the player because they've been making those decisions too frequently, or he coaches them and he actually works with them to get rid of that from their game. But that's where he's either going to keep his job or he's not. But we've got games coming forward to make that a bit better. So I am trying. I am.
Right.
This is
you say I'm not. You say I'm not a Premier. You say I'm not a Premier League footballer, right?
Right. What have you got? What have you got? Go on.
This is Ollie Watkins, right? This is Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, he looks like him. Yeah,
Watkins, back post. We've got all the time, right? Let's try to get a bit more.
Does this make you Michael Keane?
I'm just letting you know here, seriously. I'm a player that's miles better than Michael Keane, and you just said we're not Premier League players. I'm just a Sunday League footballer that can do better than Michael Keane.
I was going to say, you look a bit like look a bit like O'Brien. So
let's do Simba instead. Let's do Simba, right? So Ollie Watkins is Simba, a bit more of a lion, right?
Got a good jump.
Yeah, he's got a good leap, Simba has. So the ball's coming over. No, it's coming over. You need to know Ollie Watkins is there. So there's a possibility, like you said, Paul, that you don't know he's there. But you need to know he's there. Not a good defender if you don't know he's there. You've got to know your surroundings. That's the first thing about being a defender.
Yeah. So
the ball's coming there. Ball's coming over. Win the header. Not me. Tennis balls hit your head a little bit. So the ball comes over. And look, Watkins here. Ball's coming over. Even if you can't win that, Watkins, mate, you're getting smashed. It's that simple. It is that simple. But like I said, I'm not a Premier. I would generally that comes over, win the header, sort it out. Mark Keane, they don't score that goal. I generally believe if you didn't gift them that first goal, I call it the momentum goal. It was the momentum goal. It was what Villa needed. It was basically said to Villa, like, yeah, let's go. And Mark Keane gifted them that goal. And we can't keep doing that. And we're crying out. So when we did the lineups, we will be ending the show in a minute. When we did lineups, Paul put Michael Keane in the squad. I think you wanted
not because I wanted to.
I put Michael Keane in the squad. I think people thought when I put it on X that we wanted Keane in the squad. I put Michael Keane in the squad, but I knew. I'm not even joking. I looked at that starting lineup, and it's embarrassing to me. For what we've had, Paul, over the years, even under Moyes, that you can't go into games with your defence that weak, and O'Brien should have been playing over Michael Keane. And that's just simple. And that's not me getting on to Michael Keane. That's just O'Brien should have been coming in, getting his Premier League games under his belt and getting used to it. He's more of a unit, O'Brien is. And I cannot see. I'm going to ask you now, do you think if O'Brien was in Michael Keane's position, do you think Watkins would have scored that header?
No,
be honest.
No.
I
mean, you know what? When O'Brien came on, he was sort of all over the place a little bit because the ball was bobbling around at one point in that second half. But he was twice the size of some of those Villa players. It was ridiculous. Yeah. I think Buendia had come on. He was not the tallest anyway, but he just looked like a giant playing next to him. So no, I think he's got a good standing, a good foundation to work from, and can be decent like Branthwaite, to be honest. But you've got to play the bugger, haven't you? Got to play him. going off what
Yeah,
people have sort of said in the comments.
Even looked like he had a bit of speed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, looking at what people sort of said in the comments, it's very much a lot of people would, to be honest, would get rid of him. I think that would be unwise at this particular moment, personally. How do you feel?
What do you, if you got rid of him, Paul, what do you feel
Tonight,
like
would
we'd
you
be
sack
losing?
him tonight? So before Southampton,
What do you think? What do you think if you sat tonight, you would be losing next game from not having Dash? What are you taking away?
I was going to say consistency. I think your day. I think your day-to-day running. I think a lot of stuff in the background. I don't know whether the squad are mentally strong enough. Who would come in? How long would that take? How long would it take to get a permanent manager? Because there's no guarantees that you get a caretaker in, and there's plenty of lads who would step up. I know some people had mentioned Baines, or they'd mentioned God anybody. Joe Royle would come down from the start.
There's some big boy managers around.
I
There'll be
know,
some
but the
big boy
thing
managers
is,
around.
Bashiri's in the middle of selling him. We'd end up with a caretaker manager, and I'm not saying they wouldn't be better. They might be better than Deitch, but the chances are that
Exactly.
the chances are that they wouldn't be good enough to sort of take on other Premier League managers. Do you know what I mean? And I just think we're in the middle of a takeover. I just think it would be silly to sack Deitch at this moment, 4 games into the season, when we've played 3 of the clubs who are going to finish in the top 7, and we've scored 4 goals in the last 2 games. And I'm not blind to everything that's happening. I just think there's a better time to do it than right now, and a knee-jerk reaction, because we won't then have a permanent manager until the takeover is finished, and that could be November, December, if we're lucky.
What about if Daesh didn't win the next 3 games and a new manager could have come in and got us something out of those next 3 games? We haven't won a game this season. We've lost all 4 games this season. How many games do we need to lose before we do actually change manager? Because the thing is, if you do keep losing, what have you got to lose if you change manager?
Oh well, if we get to that,
is Daesh getting us to show that much? Yeah.
If we get to that stage, then obviously it needs to happen. But like I say, we've got Southampton League Cup, Leicester away, Palace at home, Newcastle at home, Ipswich away. Do you know what I mean?
Not easy.
It's not easy.
I said to you these games that
this
isn't the worst
we've played. This is not the worst we've played over the time that Deitch has been with us.
It's the worst we defended. The worst we defended.
Well, it is in particular times.
I've never seen us defend this. I've never seen us defend this bad in a very, very long time. Like 3 goals, 4 goals, 3 goals in 8 minutes, and then 3 goals there for them to come and beat us. That's bad. That is bad. Like honestly, 3 goals against Brighton, all our fault. 4 goals against Spurs. 8 minutes. I think it was at 84th minute was beating Bournemouth. We conceded 3 goals when we was 2-0 up. And then the next game, we're 2-0 up and we conceded 3 goals against Villa again. That's how many goals is that? 3, 7, 13 goals in 4 games we've conceded.
Not many, is it?
Can't be blind to that. That's I love tonight. I love tonight, and I rate you. I do rate you a lot, and I will be positive with you. I'll be by your side. We'll ride this storm together. We will. I don't just want to put on. I want to be honest with how I feel, and I don't know how I feel. I really don't. We could get rid of Dyche. The players could just take the piss, and under Lampard, we was everywhere. And the players had I don't know, but we could change the manager and have a little bit of a manager bounce and say, wow, this manager's getting a bit out of this player that I didn't know this player had that. He knows the answer to this, and he come in. He likes Patterson a lot more than what Dyche likes Patterson. Always, he's chucking O'Brien in straight away. We could even end up with O'Brien and Branthwaite as centre backs here. Got a manager that's just got no attachment to anything, coming in, fresh ideas, knows how to get something different out of these players, and that has got the answers. I don't know. I mean, I don't see why we should always be scared of change when it is so bad. But like Paul said, we are scoring goals. It's not massively bad. We're showing signs that we can win. But I'm going to finish it on one little positive now. Right? I am fuming. I am really, really angry. And as you can tell tonight, I kept it cool a little bit. I've been a bit more angry tonight, which I don't like to be because I care about Everton, but I don't like to be like this. But Branthwaite will be back, I believe, very, very soon. He was in training. He's on the grass. And Branthwaite, when he come back last season, was fantastic. The big problem today was that we didn't have a right back. Patterson's still back. He's on the grass as well. I do believe Patterson will be back. Yeah, it probably was. Plugay was playing all right. I believe that Patterson will be back as well. So we're going to have a really good centre-back who stabilises everything. Patterson will come back to help the right-back situation because that did us today. I feel if Patterson played today, we're a bit better off. I think Patterson helped us today. So we might get some defensive players to come back that might help us sort out this defensive nightmare that we're going through. But yeah, that's all I've got. It says there's been 916 people. I don't know how long you stayed on, but 916 people click on. Me and Paul have come and faced this shit tonight, which we didn't want to do. So if you could just come live and facing this crap and having to be dressed live, can you hit that like and subscribe? Get behind us, and we'll always be here for you after every game and before every game. But we're going to be happy soon. I'm getting the unicorn out. Getting the unicorn out, Paul. Getting the unicorn out. I'm getting that. I'm getting the unicorn out. I'm not even joking. For next game, the unicorn out.
I have to wash the greenery off it.
It's got like green mold on it out the back. It's got like green mold spiders. I'm going to go and wash the unicorn, freshen it up, and we need the look. Don't we? We need a look.
Well, I tell you what.
The unicorn.
I tell you what. One or two, maybe the whole season's in the stars, right? Okay, so end of October, right? Start of November, 1994, right? We'd stayed up previous season against Wimbledon. I think it was 93, 94, possibly there was that. So we'd stayed up, and then we were doing awful. We hadn't. I don't know whether we'd lost all 9 games. Couldn't have. So we must have got some draws, but we hadn't won in 9 games. And then we played West Ham at home on a Tuesday night, I think it was. And we won 1-0, and Gary Ablett scored. Rest in peace. Gary Ablett scored, and we won 1-0, right? But it wasn't great. Joe Roll took over. And then in the summer after, or in the May after, we won the FA Cup. And actually, the FA Cup final, which will be next year, that'll be 30 years since we won the trophy.
Boom.
So there's some similarities. It might not go well for the next few games. It might go well. And if it does, then maybe, we're going to be okay. If it doesn't, and we end up with a bit of a takeover and a new manager, then maybe history repeats itself 30 years on.
Yeah, I like your positive. I like the positive spin. I do believe that, trying to be positive with you now, I do believe that Taylor is going to be the man. And some people don't like him, but I do believe he's a character. We need a character. Texter's going to come in and he's going to give us a new manager next season. Sorry, Dyche. Don't like to do that to you, but I hate being harsh to people. I do, because I don't like Dyche. I just want Everton to do well, and he's struggling with us. That's it. So I'm pretty sure he'll understand that as well. But I think Tex is going to come in. I think Tex is definitely going to bring in a new manager. He says Dexter did say that a massive positive. Texter did say that he wants to do something in January to help us this transfer window. That makes me a bit more positive because I do feel that watching us today, we do need a few more tools to help us. Like right back and left back position needs sorting out big time. And we probably need someone else in the centre mid. So if Texter's going to come in, take over Everton very soon, and he's going to look to give players in the transfer window and make us go into the second of the season very strong, it's not as scary as we might. So what we've probably got to do is we've got to stick together. It's going to be hard this first half of the season, but we've got to ride the storm with some weak links and with some players that we're not sure about. We've got to get the best out of what we can of the first half of the season and hope that Texter helps us in January, bring some good players that can finish the season really strong. That's my positive. It's not be all and end all. It's 3 games now. It's 4 games. Doesn't define our season. These next games are the big ones, like Paul said. The next game are the games that will define us. So if we can start picking up a few points season, just make sure we're not in the danger zone in January. Then we can bring players in and finish the season really strong. And the main thing is that we do go into and it's really bad. I hate this sort of mentality, but the main thing is that when we go into the new stadium, we're in the Premier League and we have a new one that can hopefully bring players in and strengthen up what we're struggling with. But we are fighting a battle here. When you think about it, our right back, we'd love to buy a new right back that's really strong. I'd love to buy a new left back that's really strong. We'd love to get a centre midfielder, but we've been massively restricted financially. So we're playing with a really bad hand, and the best we can be doing with what we've got. So we've just got to stick together and try and stick together. We're here. Paul's positive tonight. He's positive. He's going to get us through it. We'll be positive next week with Paul.
Have a good night, everybody.
Right, about an hour, everyone. We did stay on, but we knew you needed. There's been loads on. That's why we did stay on. We would have gone off if there wasn't. Up the top is everyone. Cup game next. Winning the cup.
Come on.
We're winning the cup, baby. Paul's got some theory that we're going to win the cup. I mean, it wasn't this one, but did you say we're winning this cup or the one next season?
No, the FA Cup. Well, it'll be 30 years, won't it? FA Cup. I mean, it'll be 30 years since we won a trophy. So League Cup or FA Cup. Or both.
So win a cup.
I've only had one, honest to God.
Said win a cup. So no matter how stressful it is, Paul said we're winning a cup. And that's what you got to worry. That's all you've got to think about.
Oh, it made you feel a little bit better.
If you ever bet, don't ever bet, but if you ever bet on Everton, there is an option that says if we go 2-0 up, you win your bet. So make sure you take that option. Make sure you take that option. I took it today. I took the 2-0 option. You said what odds was we to today? We was 3-1. Yeah.
Right.
I put a tenner on it, Everton to win 3-1. And you get if you go 3-0 up. So I put a tenner on it to return 40 quid. My bet come in, even though we lost. So Everton won to me. Everton won. It doesn't matter because I won. We had the 2-0 option. As long as we're 2-0 up, the bet comes in.
And I had a coupon today, and Liverpool let me down. You know, I had them down for a draw.
yes. I was literally waiting to sing the song. I was ready. Someone put it on X. Like I've never thought more like singing the blues when Everton win and Liverpool lose. So Liverpool had lost. I was getting ready to sing that song and we couldn't win. So I'm not going to sing that song. Right, everybody, that's it. I'm out. Paul's out. Thank us for coming on. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. 157 have clicked on. Not sure if you've stayed on, but you've clicked on. Make sure. Oh, I like it. What's that smell of? Shit.
On that note,
Dice could. Oh my God, Everton. It's just Everton. We're going. Up the top is everyone. We'll be fight with all of them might. We'll be back in the cup game and winning the cup. Up the top.